manifest in their own lives because they don't want to ruin their lives and go to prison. So they think I think a great deal of the time admire those who are courageous enough to kind of be the lawbreakers in the way that they live and present themselves. So any kind of character, I think, that encompasses that experience is kind of fun to portray because it's very close, I think, to my own heart. So I don't see it as an insult. It's unfortunate sometimes that the writers who create this material aren't intelligent enough to understand the experience and the various levels of it. So they marginalize it or they trivialize that experience. And, I try to authenticate it as best I can. So sometimes that can be challenging. But as far as the marketplace now, man, there's been opportunities to explore characters that serve humanity rather than, insult humanity by constant lessons of depravity and degradation, and the tearing down of life. There's stories now that encompass hope and faith, reclamation, things like that I've been a party to that I'm grateful to see manifest, And so I think we've come a long way, all of us, who in a sense, on the periphery that don't participate in mainstream groupthink. There's been definitely some changes, a bit of a paradigm shift in that regard. So I'm happy for that. I'm glad I've lived long enough to see it.
Well, that's good because you're a really nice guy. You're there's nothing scary about you in real life. I just think it's kind of like I've talked to people from Iran or Yemen or Saudi Arabia and talk about terrorists, and people think they're automatically a terrorist. It's just kind of along my thinking was that it's just kind of unfortunate that sometimes you're being yourself and you're a great guy, but you're still maybe here and there being held down by some interesting roles.
I think a lot of that has to do with where you are and who you surround yourself with. So I think that it's a drag, but I also think that one has to consider the people that they engage, and sometimes that mentality, I think, in my opinion, that mentality suggests more what's going on with that person, the ignorance that's clearly there, than anything that has to do with me or anybody else. So it is kind of unfortunate and sad that you have to deal with people who have small minds and have not lived that much and project a very a very juvenile perspective that has nothing to do with any real life experience or insight, So if people are in fact doing that, I think it says more about them than it does what they're looking at. And so I think it has to do with who you surround yourself, the circumstances in which you live, the kind of communities that you deal with, and even the ones that are not so evolved, you're still, I think, it can be very challenging, I think, for me to transcend that arrogance that you kind of you hint at when I go into public places and people get fearful because they've been trained by media and become willing slaves to media and zeitgeist to react to what they've been trained to believe rather than learn independently of that through their own experiences, intelligence, to learn what people are and be courageous enough to investigate that. And so through that comes great growth. I was fortunate enough, Jimmy, to grow up in situations where there's multicultural background. I grew up in various communities for people from all walks of life. So I learned early on how to be a chameleon out of necessity. So I just, I embrace people, basically as I would like to be embraced, and kind of focus on the heart of the matter, not what it looks like and all that kind of stuff, because that doesn't really mean anything, man. We're all going to get old someday, and the body's going to decay and deteriorate, and the artifice becomes irrelevant anyway. And maybe the ego doesn't like to address that or recognize that because there's so much stock and narcissism in the reflection in the mirror. But if you can get past the costume, past the mask, and see into the heart of the matter and recognize your brothers and sisters as they truly are in life, then you can learn to have conversations that are insightful, I think, and like I said, embrace the heart of the matter than rather what things look like or appear to be.
Yeah, I'm very happy that I was raised to love everybody. You can't necessarily hate someone or not talk to someone or be scared of someone just because of the way they look, or, like you mentioned, the way that Hollywood portrays these people, because it's not always true. And before I get to the last question, I wanted to ask you about we've talked about some of your other works in the past, but I did want to ask about Blue Streak, which that was almost 20 years ago. But it was a freaking hilarious movie. What was it like working on Blue Streak with Martin Lawrence?
Martin was actually kind of nice. He was kind of quiet to himself. For me, what was fun about it was a reunion for me and Billy Forsythe. I don't know if you remember William Forsythe.
Oh, yeah.
Great actor. There's been a lot of stuff, extremely prolific career. So I got to talk to William for a little while, and I think it was Les Mayfield, the director on that. Les Mayfield, he was actually very nice. And so overall, I thought, yeah, it was a lot of fun to do. It was just one of those kind of experiences where you go in, you do your thing, and you leave. But sometimes when you do studio movies, because you're dealing with the corporate mentality of those, the people who run the show. Sometimes, it's contagious. The kind of the superficial kind of climate that those movies sometimes, those sets can be. I don't know. They just a lot of people tiptoeing around, worried about saying the wrong thing, doing the wrong thing because they'll offend the powers that be. Kind of like in any workplace that's like that. And so it's nice. It was nice for me to work on a set where I didn't feel that was the case, and everybody was very friendly, and I had a good time. It was fun, and I got paid. And someone told me, "Hey, Robert, it's the #1 movie." I was like, "Oh, cool." I didn't actually go see it when it came out in the theaters. I don't always go see the films I'm in, but I was excited that it made such impact. I'm sure Martin Lawrence, clearly he's very talented in what he does, and for that, during that period, that time, that was the sensation. So it was kind of nice to be part of the cast. William Forsythe, Martin Lawrence, Peter Green. There's a collection of actors and actresses in that movie that really went on to do some really cool stuff.
Oh, absolutely. And, of course, this weekend is Dark History Con, and you're graciously joining us again. So we got that to look forward to. That's the 16th through the 18th in Urbana, Illinois, for anybody who's curious. As far as that goes, what's the future hold for you? I know you've got a lot of movies you're working on.
Yeah, I'll just list them, and I won't bore the audience with a lot of industry details. Clint Eastwood's new one, The Mule, December 14th. That's coming out right before Christmas, I think, right? December 14th, so literally a couple of weeks right before Christmas. Had a great experience working with Clint Eastwood. He directed that, is playing the lead in that along with Bradley Cooper, Andy Garcia, Michael Pena, and a whole cast of incredible actors. So that was exciting. What else? Cynthia, Devin Downs, Kenny Gage, another directorial debut, collaborated with them again. The infamous director duo who brought you Anarchy Parlor, man. So Cynthia, Sid Haig, Bill Moseley, Scout Taylor Compton, all are the leads. Or actually, I think, yeah. And I was fortunate enough to participate in that one, too. That just came out, I think, maybe a few weeks ago. So check out Cynthia on various multimedia platforms. Check out Silencer, action movie. Just came out about a month or two ago. Danny Trejo, myself, Tito Ortiz, Chuck Liddell, Johnny Messner plays the lead in that. I thought he did a great job. And I'm currently working on The Talking Tree, story of reclamation. Young man goes to prison. His wish is to be released so he can see his dying mother. The reason he ends up in prison is because he robs a bank to pay for her medical bills because she has no insurance. I play a character that helps to inspire him to fight the good fight ultimately so he can eventually be released, that we can be released together and see his mom before she passes away. So that's a very kind of touching, endearing type story along the lines of what I was describing before about stories of hope and reclamation. It's called The Talking Tree. With Todd Bridges, myself, Sally Kirkland, she plays the mother that I described. So that should be interesting. And what else? American Desert, that's coming out next year. So, yeah, there's a list of stuff, man. Like I said, I don't want to bore the audience with a bunch of titles, but I think in terms of proximity, December 14th, The Mule, Clint Eastwood. Check it out.
All right, Robert. Well, thank you so very much for giving me another chance and another opportunity to talk with you, man. It's always an honor, and I look forward to seeing you this weekend, man. Wear some nice warm stuff.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate the warning, man. I'll do that. I'll pack that away. Right on.
All right. Thanks again, man. Have a great night.
You too. Take care. See you then.
All righty, man. All righty, guys. If you just happen to join us, my dogs are barking, but if you just happen to join us, as always, you missed the interview. I don't mean as always, but, as I always spiel, if you missed the interview, but just now tuned in, of course, you can wait about 20 minutes, and the show will be in the archive available for download. And you guys should check that out. Of course, Robert LaSardo is going to be joining us at Dark History and Horror Con, November 16th, 17th, and 18th. That's right, this weekend at the Garden Hotel in Urbana, Illinois. DHHCon.com or Dark History and Horror Con on Facebook for more details. It's going to be stack packed and all that, and the place you want to be this weekend. We are going to be back tomorrow. Actor, writer, producer Todd Duffy joining us, a.k.a. Goofy Chotchkie's waiter Brian from Office Space, making his return to the show. He was also in Barney and Friends, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, The Drew Carey Show, and Prank Boys. He's actually working on a book, so I hope to hear some more about that. November 21st, actor, singer, voiceover artist, social media star Eric Schuett joining us. This guy's blowing up on the web, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. This guy's got more likes than my grandpa would say. Carter's got little liver pills. Oh, my goodness. So we will see you guys tomorrow for Todd Duffy, and, of course, I hope to see all of you this weekend in Urbana for Dark History and Horror Con. Big thanks again to Robert LaSardo, and thank you, everyone, for listening, as always. Have a great night.